Hello students, welcome back to physics class. In the previous videos we have discussed so many terms related to motion in one dimension. Let's have a quick recap of all those points and move on to the next one. We have seen in the last classes physical quantity. What is a physical quantity? A quantity which can be measured. And the two broad categories of physical quantities, that is scalar and vector. And then we have seen rest and motion, one-dimensional motion. What is a one-dimensional motion? When a body moves along a straight line path, its motion is said to be one-dimensional motion. Then we have seen distance and displacement and the difference between the distance and displacement. Then we have moved to speed. In the speed we have seen what is the speed, what is a uniform speed, non-uniform speed, instantaneous speed and average speed. So let's move on to the next topic, velocity. So you all know that velocity is a vector quantity and speed is a scalar quantity which does not involve direction. The speed only tells how fast something is moving. To determine direction, you need to know the velocity. So velocity includes the speed of an object and the direction of its motion. Next, the velocity of a body is the distance traveled per second by the body in a specific direction. That is, the rate of change of displacement of a body with time is called as the velocity. Next, we'll see the SI unit of velocity. The unit of velocity is same as the unit of speed. That is, the SI unit of velocity is meter per second and CGS unit is centimeter per second. Next, we'll see uniform velocity. So you have already seen what is a uniform speed. So in that, here uniform velocity, the direction is involved. If a body travels equal distance in a particular direction in equal interval of time, the body is said to be moving with the uniform velocity. Let's see an example. The raindrops reach on earth's surface falling with a uniform velocity. So initially as the raindrops starts falling, first its velocity increases due to the force of gravity, but very soon due to viscosity or friction and upthrust of air, the viscous force and upthrust balances the force of gravity on the raindrops, with the result that the net force on the drops becomes zero. Then the drops falls down with the uniform velocity called the terminal velocity. Next we'll see non-uniform velocity. The velocity of a body can be variable either due to change in its magnitude or in its direction, or in both magnitude and direction. We call it as a non-uniform velocity. That is, if a body moves unequal distances in a particular direction in equal interval of time, or it moves equal distances in equal interval of time, but its direction of motion does not remain the same, then the velocity of the body is said to be variable or non-uniform. Let's see an example. So the motion of a body in a circular path, even with a uniform speed, is with variable velocity, that is non-uniform velocity. Because velocity depends on direction as well as speed. The velocity of an object can change even if the speed of the object remains constant. That is the speed of the car. Okay, here the speed of the car might be constant, but its velocity is not constant because the direction of motion is always changing. Next we'll see instantaneous velocity. For a body moving with a variable velocity, that is non-uniform velocity, the velocity of the body at any instant is called its instantaneous velocity. So it is measured by finding the ratio of the distance traveled in a sufficiently small time interval to the time interval. It is important to have time interval small enough so that the direction of the motion does not change during this interval. So you have to take small time interval because the direction will not change in that time. Next we'll see average velocity. Okay, if the velocity of a body moving in a particular direction changes with time, the ratio of displacement to the time taken in entire journey is called its average velocity. So average velocity is equals to displacement by time taken. Next we'll see the difference between speed and velocity. So the speed is distance traveled per second by a moving object is called its speed. Then velocity is the distance traveled per second by a moving object in a particular direction is called its velocity. So you know the formula to find the speed, that is distance by time. So what is the velocity? So it is displacement by time. That is what given in sentence. So next is, it is a scalar quantity. The speed does not tells us the direction of motion. Next is, it is a vector quantity. The velocity tells us the speed as well as the direction of motion. Third one, the speed is always positive since direction is not taken into consideration. But the velocity can be positive or negative depending upon the direction of motion. The fourth one, after one round in a circular path, the average speed is not zero. But in velocity, after completing each round in a circular path, the average velocity is zero. So what is the formula to find the velocity? It is displacement by time. So after completing one round, you know that displacement is zero, then the velocity also will be zero. So your homework is, first one, define velocity and state its unit. So you have to define what is velocity and the SI unit and CGS unit. Is distinguish between uniform velocity and variable velocity, that is uniform velocity and non-uniform velocity. Third one is distinguish between speed and velocity.